Welcome back to the Grand Solar Minimum channel. Today is Friday, February 12th, 2021. Thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of the Grand Solar Minimum News Update. The theme tonight's episode is going to be it's cold. Very cold. Let's get right with it though. Tonight we'll start with the space weather part of the episode tonight. Solar wind speeds reported around 343.7 kilometers per second with a density of 10.4. Looking at the sun, we are blank once again. This now makes 8 days in a row for days without sunspots. And I know you see the brighter region here in the southern hemisphere near that coronal hole, which, by the way, that coronal hole could rock our world on Valentine's Day. That is when we are expected to see the increased solar winds from this coronal hole that's in our southern part of our star. It should reach us by Sunday, Valentine's Day, and could see an uptick in seismic activity. KP indices are at 2 with a 24-hour max of 2. But back to the sunspots, that was it was a proto spot, like a beginning of a sunspot, but it struggled to form. So we are not this is not being reported as an official sunspot grouping. So that keeps us blank. But boy, we have a lot going on in the sun as far as coronal holes and all kinds of weird stuff happening right now, or not happening, I should say. We'll get more into that. But now 25 days in 2021 without sunspots. Remember, the solar cycle 25 begun in July of 2020. We got a big batch of activity. We actually had sunspot groupings with numbers of 84 on the sunspot number. And then it kind of died away for a little bit. And then December it came back. November, December it came back. And then we told you it was going to be quiet for January into much of February. And that is happening now as well. So the sun is not quite yet getting going with the solar cycle 25. And usually that's an indication the slower this cycle begins to get going, the weaker this cycle is going to be. So it's going to be interesting to watch here the next several weeks. We'll go check out more stats on the sun here. I did want to point out the TCI dropped to 4.66. So the very top of our atmosphere has been getting colder as of late, and we're feeling it here on Earth for sure. Now, the cosmic radiation situation is still at plus 7.0. Now, that's high. What we've been averaging for the past year or so has been right around the 9.5% to 11.1%. 11.9 is the all-time record, which was set back in our last solar minimum in 2009. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is that we are starting to see the cosmic radiation dosage drop a little bit, just slightly. Now, to give you an idea, the record cold as far as cosmic radiation dosage rates in the atmosphere is a minus 39. So as you can tell, we have a long way to go, still being at plus 7 before we get any kind of record. And also that would have to mean that our sun's magnetic field was really strengthening up, and right now we're not really seeing that. So anyway, let's before we head off to space weather section on the grandsolarminimum.com, I'd like to bring to you guys a article that I found here on spaceweather.com. A new form of space weather, earth wind. The sun is windy every day, 24/7. A breeze of electrified particles blows away from the sun faster than 1,000,000 miles per hour. Solar wind sparks beautiful auroras around the poles of the Earth, sculpts the tails of comets, and scours the surface of the moon. Would you believe Earth is windy too? Our own planet produces a breeze of electrified particles as well. It's like the solar wind, only different, and it may have important implications for space weather on the moon. Earth wind comes from the axis of our planet. Every day, 24/7, fountains of gas shoot into space from the poles, or as we believe, highly charged particles. The The leakage is tiny compared to Earth's total atmosphere, but is enough to fill the magnetosphere with a riot of rapidly blowing up charged particles. Ingredients include ionized hydrogen, helium, oxygen, and nitrogen. Once a month, the moon gets hit by a blast of earth wind. It happens around the time of the full moon, when the Earth's magnetic tail points like a shotgun towards the lunar disk. So for 3 to 5 days, the lunar terrain is bombarded by hydrogen, helium, oxygen, and nitrogen, and other particles. One effect of earth wind just discovered is to create water. According to a new study published in January 2021 edition of the Astrophysical Journal Letters, earth wind can actually make H2O on the lunar surface. This is good stuff, folks. Hydrogen ions in earth wind combine with oxygen moon rocks to soil make hydroxyl and water, H2O, explains one of the lead authors of this paper. This came as a surprise. Researchers have long known that hydrogen from space raining down on the moon can create temporary form of surface water. Solar wind does it all the time. However, this kind of water is expected to dry up once a month when the moon enters Earth's magnetic tail, and terrestrial magnetism deflects solar wind, turning the faucet to the off position. That's not what happened. The researchers looked at the data on the NASA Moon's mineralogy mapper on board India's spacecraft, which was orbiting the moon in 2009. And when the moon made multiple passes through Earth's magnetic tail, we found that lunar surface water does not disappear as expected during the magnetosphere shedding period. Earth wind must be bridging the gap. In fact, when it comes to producing water, earth wind has some big advantages over solar wind. When the moon is inside the Earth's magnetic tail, it is surrounded by earth, wind, and it feels the impact from every direction. The lunar near side, lunar far side, and lunar poles are all peppered with earth wind particles. In this sense, earth wind can potentially make water anywhere, unlike the solar wind, which rains down only on the lunar day side. Another potential advantage of earth wind is it's oxygen rich, much more so than solar wind. Oxygen is another key element of water, points out she. Whether these oxygen ions can continue to the formation of lunar water is a very intriguing question for future study. So I thought this was a pretty remarkable discovery in the space weather news, and wanted to pass that information along there. Very interesting stuff here about surface water on the moon. Let's go ahead and check out our grandsolarminimum.com, thegrandsolarminimum.com. Remember, thegrandsolarminimum.com. Our space weather section right now, it is reporting the sun is quiet. Last updated though on KPNSEs have risen to 3, and which could be the indication of the oncoming solar wind that is driving highly charged particles towards our magnetosphere as we speak right now. We should see full peak of the solar wind increase by February 14th. Right now, we're quiet. No solar flares, nothing. And it's been kind of quiet here for quite some time, actually, folks. Check out our SDO here of the sun. Let's see if I can get it and go in motion. Earlier, it did not want to work. And it looks like it is working now. Here we go. So check out this southern coronal hole. That's where we're going to have the solar wind event. Then you guys can see just a flurry of all kinds of, we got to watch this here. This could graze the northern magnetosphere in a couple of days. We've got some, this right here, this magnetism that's happening here, this crack. It could be, this could be potential signs too. Usually when I see things like this and KP is low, you could actually see a crack in the magnetic field and a brief uptick in solar wind that could cause instant reaction with solar or seismic activity. That is the sunspot that never became, fizzled out, did not have the property to become a sunspot. If you guys check out the corona, it looks like here off to the distance on the beyond the eastern limb, that we will see some sunspots, possibly, right? Well, let's check it out. Right now, it is not looking that way. We check out our future cast of sunspots, it's all blank. We've got another coronal hole that's peering around the edge of the eastern limb. This is the extended look here. I'll point out the arrow. Where is Earth facing? I'll show you. There we go. Earth facing, and right here is where everything would be facing Earth, is in this particular region here. This right here is our eastern limb, so everything that I'm pointing at back here is behind what we can see with satellite view. And as you can tell, there are no sunspots to report. Could be a couple of areas of interest. This definitely could be of interest. This is probably what's causing the corona to kind of stick out beyond the eastern limb, but nothing, no dark course, nothing to indicate that we are possibly looking at any sunspot activity. Again, this is the region that did not quite form to be a sunspot. Compare it to this, which has got less, I think, brightness in it compared to this little area here. So point be taken here is that solar minimum conditions are well underway, and they have been now for 25 days of 2021. Now, there's a lot to contribute to this. We have the month of February. Typically, when you're in a La Nina like we are, or we're in, you'll see the peak of that strength of the La Nina in the February-March months. And it is full blast right now. And I think the articles that I have pointed out for tonight will be proof of that. So let's go through. So what do we know during solar minimum conditions? Lower solar activity and lack of sunspots usually indicate cooler temperatures on Earth. So let's take a look and see what's been happening here the last couple of days. Here we go. Mass disruption after extreme freeze hits the UK. Snowy and icy conditions are set to cause further disruptions across the United Kingdom after the deepest extreme freeze in a decade that hit the country, causing mass cancellations of classes, businesses, and travel services. On Thursday, February 11th, 2021, the country has recorded its coldest night in more than 25 years as the mercury dropped negative 23 degrees Celsius, that's negative 9.4 here in the States, in northern Scotland. And if you guys follow me on Twitter at JakeGSM, I also follow folks such as David Birch, the Starman. He is out of the UK, and he shares a lot of local images, video of snow and ice. I can tell you, here lately on Twitter, I have seen more of the colder images and snowier conditions coming from that region. But this is just an example of what's happening around the northern hemisphere right now. It is winter, but there is a lot of winter going around. Let's check it out. Moving on here. Moscow braces for a major winter storm and record snow. Moscow is bracing for a major winter storm and bringing record-breaking snow to the Russian capital beginning on Thursday, February 11th, 2021, until about Sunday, February 14th, making it the longest snowfall in the city history since 2018. The snowfall fell from Friday to Sunday, was forecast to reach up to 16 inches, but with about 13.8 inches already blanketing the city, the snow depth may hit or surpass the record high of 30 inches set back in 2013. So they're looking at snow that started yesterday and moving all the way through till Sunday, Valentine's Day. So that's 4 days. And that's a very similar setup to a lot of other areas that are seeing snow. I'll continue. Scotland records its coldest night in the UK since 2010 as extreme cold snap continues. Now, it has brought record cold temperatures, heavy snowfall, and triggered severe weather warnings until Friday, February 12th. That's today. On Tuesday, February 9th, the coldest night in the UK since 2010 was recorded in the Scottish Highlands, where the mercury dropped to negative 16.7. So you've got two major headlines coming out of the UK with record temperatures, and then Scotland with record cold temperatures, not too far away from what the UK had seen. lots of cold weather, lots of extreme cold weather, not just here in the U.S., all over the world right now. Strong hailstorm hits Aba, blanketing the desert ice in Saudi Arabia. Now, this happened on Tuesday, February 9th. There's not a lot of detail. I kind of chuckled at this one. But hailstorm struck the city on Tuesday afternoon, accompanied by cold winds and thunderstorms. Photos and video on social media show roads covered in hail and the desert blanketed in ice. So here we are again. More images from the desert in the Middle East with snow and ice. Now, granted, this was a hailstorm, but hail is part of the equation of these grand solar minimums. Basic 101 grand solar minimum knowledge. When you have highly charged particles in the atmosphere, you see more cloud nucleation, heavier precipitation. You're going to see more hail, frequent hail, and lightning becomes a lot bigger event because your sky is highly charged. That's right, very, very highly charged. Whenever you see big lightning storms and the sky's purple, that's a very good indication that you know that you have a highly charged atmosphere at the time of that storm. So once again, another headline though from the desert. Now I'm not just cherry picking. I'm trying to pick something all over the world right now, and I'm finding it. Temperatures bottomed out at negative 61 in northwestern Canadian town. I know we're talking about near the Arctic. It's supposed to be cold up there, but still, this is significant. Canada's National Weather Service, Environmental Canada, reported a reading of negative 51.9, or about 61 below in Fahrenheit, in Wik-Widi of the Northwestern Territories on Sunday, the lowest recorded temperatures in the country since 2017. Wik-Widi is about 1,900 miles northwest of Toronto. Again, this is in the extreme northwest part of Canada near the Arctic Circle. Look at some of these records, though, that broke on Friday. Montana, by the way. Dunkirk. This is how far this Arctic air is reaching down from the northwestern part of our Arctic Circle all the way down to parts of Montana. Dunkirk, negative 40. The old record was shattered by 8 degrees, and that was set back in 2018. Cut Bank, negative 38 degrees. It broke its record of negative 32, set back in 1936. Lewistown, negative 34. It beat its record of negative 30 in 1905. And Great Falls destroyed its previous record of negative 21, set back in 1936, with 12 degrees negative 33. That's a 12-degree difference. Negative 33 was the record. That was probably the biggest record broken in Montana. So freezing cold. In the last broadcast we talked about, we talked about this. You know, February was going to be a cold month. It was going to be brutal. Boy, I didn't realize what I was talking about a week ago. I'll tell you right now, I was not expecting what we're reporting on tonight. Let's continue on here. Deadly pileup in Fort Worth, like a scene out of a movie. Unfortunately, this story has been all over. Interstate 35 near Fort Worth, Texas, was shut down early Thursday morning after a major pileup clogged the highway with vehicles ranging from sedans to tractor trailers. Right now, the death toll from this incident is at 6, sadly. And this accident happened at 6 a.m. Now, Fort Worth, Texas is not really used to this kind of weather. But here we are. It is February. It is winter in the Northern Hemisphere. And we have some pretty bad weather. 70 car pile up, maybe more. I think it was 133 altogether when it was all said and done. They were traveling about 60 to 70 miles an hour when the collision happened. It's a miracle only 6 people died. But again, we're talking about ice. You know, the heroics of this scene, guys. This was 6 in the morning, no sun yet. And really hats off to the firefighting crews out here that was saving lives, trying to save lives in the dark and the freezing rain. Talk about a challenge. And also several firefighters had fallen themselves on the slick ice. Again, they're not used to this kind of weather. So they're not prepared to go out here and be, step gingerly. When you're trying to save someone's life, you're trying to rush around and get to someone as fast as possible. So this was a huge challenge for everyone. No sunlight, freezing rain, by the way. It was dark, freezing rain, trying to save people, falling down the pavement. Insane conditions. Absolutely insane. Yeah, Summer BC says 5 people died in that. They have corrected that. Another person has passed. It is now 6 people have passed away, unfortunately. Again, 60 to 70 miles an hour when they collided. That's amazing. We only have 5 to 6. So it's absolutely a miracle. But this weather system, went as far south as it did, and there's more cold on the way. Moving to our next article here, another area that we're going to talk about. And when we show you the GFS outlook, wow. Washington and Oregon, goodness gracious. Parts of their upper elevations, you guys are going to see some snowfall. And I'm going to show you what they're thinking right now. Pretty astonishing numbers here. But Seattle, Portland preparing for its heaviest snowfall in at least 2 years. Now, here's what's funny to me. The coincidence, the correlation here. Everything that they're talking about that's going to happen this weekend and possibly next week, they're mentioning 2017, 2018. And I mentioned last fall, around October, that the weather, some of these weather events were feeling like what it was like in 17 and 18. And funny enough, we're starting to see some of these storms and temperature records being broke that were also set in 2018. Now, what's the correlation? I think it's safe to say that early 2019 through all of most of 2020, except up till July, obviously. So 2019 and 2020, I think everybody can agree that we are at the bottom of solar minimum conditions. So 2017 would be the downtick on the way down to the bottom, and 2021 and 2022 are going to be equal in magnetic field strength and minimum conditions from 17 and 18, except the only difference is now we're ticking back up towards maximum. So we're in that parallel where it's the same conditions, space weather-wise, and we are starting to see some of this stuff repeat again from 2017, 2018. Not as bad because we are technically on the uptick, but February is not over, and we're only at the 12th, and right now we've got some pretty impressive models showing some stuff that we could see here over the next several days. Relentless wintry weather to bombard much of the U.S. I mentioned in the title that 60%, this is a good map I wanted to show you real quick. 60% of the United States in the next 10 days or more will have snow coverage of at least an inch or more. And when we see the map, it looks a lot different from when we report it. The dark blue is the percentage of snow increase, and the brown colors represent the lack thereof of snow. And as you can see, the Midwest there, St. Louis, Southern Illinois, definitely I'd have to agree with that. They have not seen the snowstorms that they usually see at this time of the year. The Northwest, that is going, that snowfall amount is that won't be there here soon. Western New York, PA, Northeast Ohio, I agree with that. That's definitely been, you guys have kind of dodged the bullet of the big snowstorms this year. You've had a couple significant ones, nothing too crazy. But this is going to change here, especially for the Northeast. We could see more of that light blue and dark blue after these next few days. And let's combine all of this to what we saw in January. And I haven't gotten to report this yet. I'm ashamed. I'm 12 days late. But this is the UAH temperatures for January. Now, we came into December with a plus 2.7 above centigrade above baseline. All right. And that was for December. That was a huge drop. We were in the 50s, 0.53, I believe. And we dropped to 0.27. And then we continue to fall through January, 0.12. February has been cold everywhere in the Northern Hemisphere. I will not be surprised if we see temperatures at baseline or below by the time we get to March 1st when Dr. Roy Spencer reports. Now also, we've had a change in the graph. Some of you might recognize that 2017, 2018, 2019, those temperatures are lower. And you are correct. They're about lower by about 0.15. And it's because of this adjustment they did. It says here, note we have changed to the 30-year averaging period from which we compute anomalies to 1991 to 2020, from the old period of 1981 to 2010. It says here, this change does not affect the temperature trends. And he's right. It does not change the trends. It didn't change the trends. It did bring the averages down a little bit. And it does say here, well, 0.15 from December. But if you look at this chart a couple of months ago, you would see that those temperatures were up a little bit higher. So the adjustment didn't change the trend, but it did change the values a little bit. Now, what's the difference between the UAH and the surface temperatures readings that we get from NOAA? The difference is that these satellite temperatures go to about 2 meters above the surface. So if you're 6 foot tall, basically these temperatures are being read right at your nose, okay? The NOAA and National Weather Service, their temperature models, their gauges are usually ground-based surface temperatures, except there's a flaw to the NOAA and National Weather Service, and that is they place these temperature sensors next to your highways, on runways at airports and the blacktops. One place in Ireland or France, I can't remember which, reported a record temperature, a high temperature, but then later found out that that record high temperature came from a temperature sensor on top of a slate roof. So satellite base, the ones they use here at UAH, John Christie and Dr. Roy Spencer, they kind of picked the one satellite data that's in the middle, because there are satellites that show higher temperatures, and then there are satellites that show even lower temperatures. And this one right here they use is right in the middle. They want to be as unbiased as possible. So they put the middle numbers up every month at the first. We have seen a sharp, dramatic cooling here just in the last 2 months. And that's a huge drop from where it is now. In fact, I would have expected these numbers to actually happen in sometime in July. Yes, I said it. I think it was going to cool all the way through July, my opinion. Right now, it's possible, like I said, by the time we are talking here March 1st, March 2nd, that we're looking at temperatures at baseline or slightly below. And I'm confident about that for only one reason why. And I think some of you will sort of reckon or agree with this. Check this watch box out. Look at that. Look at that. So I said 60% of the United States could see snow on the ground. That's why. That's why right there. Look at all of that. Check out our current radar here, satellite radar, windy.com. Let's check out the areas that we should be seeing our next storm. Of course, it's dark everywhere, so we're not going to get much daylight footage here. Guess we can go out to the west coast, see if we got anything going on right now. Snow-covered roads. Oregon and Washington. Gray and dreary. Snow-covered roads. So the northwest, let's get to that. Give me a second here. This is what we're going to expect here the next few days. So Fort Worth, you just dealt with ice. Guess what? That heavy snow is heading your way over the next couple of days. In fact, let's go take a look at our weather. This is day one. Let's start with day one. How about that? Here we go. So day one, check it out. We've got snow across the northern plains states in the Midwest. Freezing precipitation, more ice across the southern region and the eastern part of the United States. Moves through Houston. And then let's take a look at our forecast for Saturday. Check this out. Snow across the Great Lakes and in the Northeast. Light snow, I might add. Ice up and down the mid-Atlantic states and the East Coast. Virginia, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Tennessee, all the way into Middle Tennessee, Southern Tennessee. Chattanooga might even get a little bit on the action. Briefly, more ice is expected across central part of Texas and then Louisiana to Arkansas on Saturday. And then we'll take a look on Sunday. It gets worse. It'll show up. Snow almost everywhere in the United States, except for the northern plain states. Very odd. Heavy icing event to take place. Historic storm from Texas all the way through southern Ohio once again. Sleet in Virginia and parts of West Virginia. Rain in the southeast. Heavy snow, blizzard-like conditions are expected in parts near Amarillo, Texas, near the Panhandle, central Oklahoma, southern Kansas, New Mexico. Also expecting heavy snow at times. Northwest Washington and Oregon to expect snowfall. That's just the 3-day forecast. That is just a 3-day forecast. Let's take a look, shall we, at the GFS. All right. Here we are tonight. Snow moving into the northwest. By the way, folks, let's pay attention, not just to here. I know I'm biased because I live up here, but count how many systems. Let's start here. I'll just move through this kind of quick. Let's go. Here's number 1. All right. Pretty big one, right? That's out of there by Valentine's Day. Number 2. Pretty long one there, number 2. And then number 3, not as much snow in the beginning, but then more cold air is reinforced. Number 4 system on February 20th. A week number 5 system. Number 6 mainly for Washington. And then the 7th system to impact the Northwest. That's widespread, even more. Number 8. Number 9. So the last 2 systems are almost like a atmospheric river of rain and snow. So 9 systems that the Northwest is going to deal with, all right? Now let's pull our attention to the storm that's going to get probably the most attention because of the effect of the population, of course, is a lot more here. Northeast, New York, places like that. So let's check out this storm. This is the pregame show on Sunday here in the Northeast. Some light snow, 1 to 3 coming in. Some lake effect here for parts of northern Michigan. And look at this monster getting ready to invade parts of Texas, Arkansas, Missouri, through southern Illinois and Indiana, through Ohio, and then up the coast in the Northeast will combine. Watch this. Here we go to Monday. Big line of snow and ice and sleet all the way down to the Mexican border to the southern tip of Texas. Okay? Here's Monday. Everybody's going to get snow. It'll be snowing from North Country of New York, actually all the way to New Hampshire to Dallas. Snow. Ice along that pinkish line you see right there. This is Monday. This is not the main event. This is the pregame into Monday night. Again, this is not the main event. This is the pre-storm. Yeah. Here is the storm by the 16th. It gets going here. I'd say this is the real birth of this low pressure system. It's going to affect millions here in the Northeast, the Midwest, the Atlantic coast. So it starts off Tuesday, Ohio. I'm calling it right now, 10 to 13 inches. For Ohio. I think the storm is going to kind of overperform. The temperatures are not going to be that crazy cold. So it's going to be a heavy, wet snow. And it's going to be a long one because we're talking about Monday, Tuesday, all day Tuesday. Then it starts approaching the Northeast. And we could see anywhere from 8 to 12 inches of snow. They're only calling 4 to 8 inches for this Tuesday storm here in upstate New York where I live. But I can tell you right now, ice along the I-95 corridor. Lots of snow for the rest of New England. That's just Tuesday. That's that storm. The next system starts to get fired up again. The same exact area, southern Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, drawing a lot of moisture out of the Gulf Coast. This is February 18th. This is 2 days now. 2 days after the storm left the area. Ohio, dealing with some moderate snowfall, maybe 3 to 5 inches right here. And then they may have to contest with ice. So the ice could bring down the snow totals a little bit, but very heavy rain and downpours south of this. Now, the models are saying on February 19th that this will be all snow for New York and then change to rain at some point. Same with Pennsylvania. I'm not so sure it changes over for very long here in New York. A lot of cold air is in place, and this is a quick mover, and you already see it changing back to snow the following morning. So, the jury's out on that system, but more lake effect snow coming in Saturday into Sunday. A quick little Alberta Clipper system on Sunday, February 21st. And then the Midwest and the Northeast, you finally get to exhale. But 2 big snow systems we got to deal with. The first one coming up here, starting Valentine's Day for most of us, we're going to see snow falling starting Valentine's Day and move through. And then GFS is indicating there could be a minor system that gets kind of mixed up here on the 22nd. And then another Clipper system across Ohio into the Northeast. Nothing major. But the big news headline is going to be the Northwest. They're seeing like an atmospheric river of snow and rain. Look at that on the 25th. So it's indicating that we're going to see plenty of snow and rain in the Northwest, Alberta and BC as well, and Canada. Watch out. And then another big system that moves across. This is all the way to February 28th. Way too far out to worry about. But these next 2 storms for the next 7 days are worth watching. Because starting on like Sunday, that's the first half of the snow, quick 1 to 3. And then Monday, a large swath of snow sets up across from Texas all the way to upstate New York and to New Hampshire, continuing through Monday evening into Monday night, tapering down by Tuesday overnight into early Tuesday morning, only to get heavy for Ohio Valley, Pennsylvania. As it moves into the Northeast, it gets even more intense. Scranton, Poughkeepsie, New York, Albany, Capital Region could see some very heavy snow. The Berkshires of Massachusetts also. But we got to watch that ice too up and down I-95. My goodness. Not good there, folks. Not good. So that's that's the big one next week. One of the big ones. System number 2 by the end of the week sets up a lot like the first one, except the snow duration is not going to be as long. And like I said, this model is indicating a ridge and fridge. It starts as heavy snow, changes over to rain, and then back to snow by the end of the storm. And then it stays a little calm here for the most part for the United States after that. What are we looking at temperature-wise? Take a look. Starts on Saturday. That cold Arctic air is still much in place through Sunday into Monday. The 16th, still tons of cold Arctic air in place. Here is the 18th. This is where the storm, GFS thinks that we're going to see temperatures in the mid-30s, which could change things to rain. This is what we call ridge and fridge, right? In the ridge of warm air, followed by Arctic air behind it. This won't be as a big cold blast as what we're seeing right now, but it will cool things down quickly. By Saturday morning, early Saturday morning, we'll see temperatures below freezing once again. Whatever snow and moisture is left, it will be all snow at that point. It does try to warm up, though, across the Midwest. And we look at temperatures on Sunday, February 21st, in the mid-30s for lots of parts across the Midwest. Northeast, the northern Great Plains, and the Great Lakes still staying near freezing. But we do see some moderation of milder temperatures. And then around the 24th, we've got this batch of Arctic cold air that is flirting once again. And this is a classic La Nina pattern. But look at this ridge and fridge. By the end of the month, that warmth is going to get killed by this gigantic blob of cold Arctic air that makes, to me, and I said this, I think that we're going to see brutal cold Arctic air. We get a little bit of a break of normal weather, and maybe as far as into early to mid-March, do we still see the Arctic air being delivered to the lower 48. And here's why I think that. This is all the way out at the end of February 28th. And there's still a lot of cold air locked in Russia and Asia. Still a lot here in Canada. So this is making its way back into the Northeast. If anything, the Great Lakes, the Northeast, Erie, PA, and the Northeast, the Northwest, of course, I think that's where we're going to see the extended winter weather possibly start to happen, as far as maybe not quite getting spring started on time. But places like Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, you guys start leveling out and things become a little bit more moderate for you by the end of February. But I still say let's keep our eyes open here, because we could still see a longer winter here for portions of the Northeast, the Northwest, and parts of the Great Lakes as well. But it does look like that it is trying to warm up in the South. So hopefully all this bad weather that you guys are experiencing in Texas is just an indication that usually when you start the winter season off like a lamb, it ends like a lion. Let's hope for your sake that Texas is experiencing the lion, because I know folks aren't comfortable with storms like this in that parts of the country. I mean, let's face it, you're going to get two major systems. You've already got one, you've got another one coming, and then a third one by the end of next week. So we've got to deal with the winter weather now, and then the early next week, and then again late next week. Three big systems that are moving starting right now tonight. And like I said, it is just, to me, it's amazing on the amount of cold. And here's the thing, it's snowing a lot too. Let's take a look at what our snow totals will look at. This is starting this weekend, so let's go up to Valentine's Day, all right? So this is early Monday morning. Light snow across most of the United States. However, we know these cold temperatures are in place for at least the next 7 to 10 days. So these snowfalls I'm showing you are going to stick around for a little bit. And let's continue on. This is Monday, as we're getting that pre-snow in the Northeast into Monday night. Look, we're already picked up almost a solid 5 inches of snow in upstate New York. All right, look at Texas. Dallas, Texas, close to a foot of snow by Monday, February 15th. Storm moves east to the Northeast. Parts of Ohio getting close to 10 inches of snow. 11 inches in Northeast. Look at that, 13 inches near Cincinnati and Covington, Kentucky. On 14 inches for Pittsburgh is definitely a very high possibility. And by the time it's all said and done here in the Northeast, upstate New York, where we are, we're looking at a possible 15 inches of snow just by Wednesday. Just by Wednesday. And then as we move through the rest of the week, the northern plains start to get a little bit of snow as well. More snow developing in the south, as you see it starting to build up again across the same exact areas that are going to get this snowstorm on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. By Friday, Pennsylvania, most of Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh, you'll get a little bit more added to that totals to put you around the 20-inch mark. Southwest Ohio, Cincinnati, also, you'll see about another 6 to 8 inches of snow. So total for you guys in Southwest Ohio, you're probably going to see close to 18 inches of snow on these next two systems that are going to move through. Northeast could see as well as over 2 feet of snow in parts of the, in fact, if you look here on Friday, February 19th, those snow totals are right around 2 feet of snow. So where I'm at, almost 2 feet of snow will be accumulated by this time next week. And the temperatures are in place to do it. So I'm not worried about that. The other area I want to talk about that's going to have some challenges here with snow totals. And I know this is far out, but check out the Northwest. This white area is not where snow is not falling. That's just how much snow is going to fall. White is 48 inches. So this is the 23rd of February. More snow will fall in the Northwest. And it just gets wider, and the swath gets a little bit wider. So we've got record snow coming possibly to the Northwest over the next several days. We've got record snow, record temperatures, all kinds of stuff happening in the Northeast. I mean, this, I said it was going to be a bumpy February, but I didn't realize it was going to be this bumpy, for sure. So let's keep our eyes open. Like I said, take a look at the watch boxes. That'll tell you everything you need to know. When's the last time you've seen the United States with this many active alerts? It is absolutely nuts right now, as far as I'm concerned. What else did I want to mention before I leave the airwaves tonight? I don't think there was anything else. Please feel free to leave comments about totals, where you guys getting snowfall, wherever you are. Report. I want to see temperatures. I want to see snowfalls. By the end of the weekend, I plan on having some totals to report on. And then Monday and Tuesday next week, maybe into early Wednesday, there could be some extended coverage on this first system, as it could bring some record snowfall in a lot of areas, especially a lot of the people out there who haven't quite yet seen a lot of snow yet this year. I think we're going to see it this week. People in the Midwest, Iowa Valley, over the next 7 days, you will see more than enough snow than you'll want, actually. So trust me on that. Guys, if anything changes in the details, I will report that as well. But right now, the models are starting to get a little bit better. We're getting closer to the event. And I think from here moving forward, it does look like that we are going to see a couple of significant systems move in over the next, at least 3 over the next 7 days, from Texas all the way to Bangor, Maine. All right, folks, that's going to do it for us tonight. Please like and share. Leave us a comment. Let us know where you're from, or just say hello. And if you guys like what you see on this channel, check out our Teespring shop on our YouTube channel. When you go to our YouTube channel, you'll see the Teespring. We got everything: shirts, stickers, coffee mugs, pillows, socks, you name it. If you like what we do here, we are 100% subscriber supported. So anything that you can do will be much appreciated. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me tonight. Thanks for tuning in. Stay safe out there, and we will talk soon.
Do you like this show? Give us a thumbs up. Want to support us more? Share to your favorite social media platform. Buy a t-shirt or become a Patreon. All links are in the description below.